This is Morgan Freeman. If you enjoy listening to The Edge, support them by subscribing to The Edge on iTunes, Stitcher, and you can listen through the iHeartRadio app. Get busy listening.
This is The Edge.
The advantage it means.
They let guy just spit on me for no reason.
That's horrible.
Is there some comfort in uncertainty, do you think?
You're a degenerate.
Because Australian Shepherds need action.
Wow. Yeah.
This is The Edge.
That's a self-loathing term that I use.
Oh, got it.
edge-show.com.
edge-show.com.
Hi, this is Mark. Thank you for being here. I thank you for being here because I know there are a lot of podcasts these days. Many of you have been here since the very beginning. Many of you who just jumped on board and now are regular listeners. And I thank you no matter how you've come to us and no matter when you've come to us. It's great to have you here. There's so many ways to support us. You can subscribe on iTunes and Stitcher. You can leave us positive reviews. Those 5-star reviews on iTunes really matter in keeping us alive in the iTunes universe. I've told you before that this podcast runs in the red, so we make no money on this podcast, but many of you have left us small amounts of money through PayPal. There's a PayPal link on our website at edge-show.com. Also at edge-show.com, you can click through to Amazon, and you can shop Amazon through our website. You can bookmark that so you can do it all the time. Whatever you spend, we get a small percentage. And it's the same Amazon as you would normally get. So however you choose to support us, we thank you very much. Today, we have comedian Andy Kindler with us, and he is a good friend of J. Elvis Weinstein, our Josh. And Josh is very funny, as you know, producer and writer on Freaks and Geeks and Mystery Science Theater. And the two of them are such good friends that we just kind of let them go. And you'll see that there's just this weird free-form vibe. So Andy Kindler, comic. Everybody loves Raymond for so long. He does his annual State of Comedy address. He is a quirky, free-form, very funny man. Before we get into that, we'll do the Fast 15 with Michael Shore. We do about 7 minutes of talk about some other stuff unrelated to politics. And then after 7 minutes, we get into the state of things at the White House, specifically Jared Kushner. Michael Shore is focused on Jared Kushner for a reason, and the reason I think you'll find intriguing. So again, we'll start you off with a little something light, and then we'll follow it with Michael's discussion of Jared Kushner. This whole thing takes about, I think it's about 17, 18 minutes, and then we get into Andy Kindler. That's the way it's laid out this week. Thanks for being here again. And on with the show.
This is The Edge.
Time for the Fast 15 with our pal, Michael Shore.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Now it's nice to see people turn out for
Thank
Michael
you.
Shore.
Thank you guys so much. Always make me feel good.
We like to talk about politics and other stuff. I'm going to start with the other stuff first. Michael Shore, when he came in, he was excited. I mean, he was enthusiastic about something he'd just eaten, and it was this Beyond Meat burger.
Yeah. It's not unusual that I'm excited about something I've just eaten. Let's put that out there.
Yeah.
But I discovered this thing called the Beyond Meat burger. I call it the Beyond Burger, but yeah, it's Beyond Meat. It's a burger that's made out of plant protein. It's made in El Segundo, California. I don't know the people who make it. I don't own it. I'm not married to them. Nothing.
Yeah. In other words, you're not being paid for this endorsement.
I'm not being paid for this endorsement. But as someone who has eaten meat their entire lives, I mean, not irresponsibly,
but proudly,
but not even proudly. Just I like meat, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I like dessert. Not proud of it, but I love it. I always try the vegan option, the veg option. If there's a new, veggie burger, I try it. I want to find the thing that finally replicates it, and I found it. This Beyond Meat burger is crazy. It tastes and has the texture of a burger. It's made entirely of plant proteins. It's got fat. I mean, it's got like 22 grams of fat. It's not, but I don't know what I don't know what a hamburger has in grams of fat.
Of course, it's not delivering a lot of the things that are bad about a burger that you would
right.
be ingesting.
I'm sure the calories are less, and I'm sure that I don't know if the fat is less or not in terms of the grams of fat, but it's really good. And they say you cook it 3 minutes on each side, right? So I'm there in my kitchen making it. And I'm like, it can't be done yet. It looks too rare. No, it's not a burger. It's not. It's going to look rare.
And that's the idea. I think they wanted something that looked like meat as well.
And they package it like meat too. It's not in a box in the freezer section. It's in its own sort of like those styrofoam things with the cellophane wrap over it that looks like a burger. It's really good, Mark. It's really, really good. And I don't see a need to go back to the other. Not that I won't, or not that I'll never have another hamburger, but it made me think, man, this is really good.
Yeah, I also was very impressed. It's funny when you first, I go over to the plant-based eating, I'm going to say it was 6 years ago, maybe 5.5 years ago, so I haven't had any meat in all that time. But I initially was looking to replicate, just as you were suggesting, the things that were meat that I was eating. So I was eating all those veggie burgers and, Boca burgers and, they've got garden burgers. Now there are a lot of different, Now I don't feel the need. I see all these super cool veggie dishes. But having said that, I know there are a lot of people who are still like I was, which is looking for the thing that is like what I was eating, but not meat.
Right.
And this thing is that. I did try it, and I was blown away.
Yeah, it's crazy. So tell me, you said something. You said it tracks the same as a burger for health reasons. What do you?
Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is I haven't looked at the ingredients, but I'm saying that maybe there might be a fat content
There's a lot. I think they use coconut oil, which I think brings a lot of the fat.
Yeah, right, and that is fattening. I guess what I'm trying to say is it's not a get out of jail free card on everything that you may.
Right. I mean, you're not going to lose a ton of weight eating just Beyond Burgers, maybe. Yeah. But maybe you will.
Maybe you will. I don't know. I mean, meat is really bad for you from a health standpoint. I mean, leave apart the cruelty associated with the farming of the animals and all of that.
Right.
But, I mean, it really is something that should be moderated enormously in someone's diet.
Yeah.
And we kind of all know that. Not saying you have to do it, just saying we kind of know it. And, you can also cheat the Grim Reaper. I mean, many people do.
Of course. And many people who, the guy who wrote the book Running died running, so it's, there are lots of things. You can get lung cancer if you've never had a cigarette, but, you got to go with the odds a little bit too.
Yeah. So anyway,
some people even win in casinos.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you. I was looking at a bunch of these things also related to health, just coincidentally before you came in, and they were looking for some ways to treat dementia or to stave off dementia. And there was research saying that vitamin E and selenium
I remember
supplements might lower the risk for Alzheimer's, but now they've just finished a long-term study that says no, it doesn't. Same thing with hormone replacement, like guys take a lot of testosterone as they get older.
Yeah.
I was just reading this article, and it was saying that, first of all, it was saying the prescriptions for the hormone testosterone nearly doubled in middle-aged and older men. We're all trying to stay vital that way. But the latest clinical trials show that the benefits of testosterone for older men, minimal, if existing at all.
Really?
Yeah. The men even had some symptoms reflecting lower hormone levels, like loss of sex drive.
Wow.
Yeah, these are things that you would associate with testosterone the other way, right? Studies reported mixed results, finding that the year-long study period did increase bone density, but didn't improve memory or cognitive function. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's something there are all these commercials now on, is your T score too low, meaning your testosterone?
Right.
So
what do we believe about? I mean, we've got other stuff to get to, but vitamins, obviously, you never really know what to, like tea, not T scores, but actually like green tea, white tea, oolong tea, all of those. What's good? You hear about all the benefits of these things, but when these stories come out, it's always disconcerting. And very rarely are the stories after the huge studies saying, go out there and get this stuff,
Yeah, what I get is that we're sort of built, and the planet's built, to provide those things that we need from the environment around us.
Right.
And it used to be that they'd say, hey, you don't even need a multivitamin. If you eat a well-rounded diet, all the vitamins you need come to you. I think as we've begun to farm differently and maybe eat differently, and certainly the foods we get, a lot of the vitamins have been cooked out of them.
Right.
And so we're starting to maybe require some supplements. But then when you get into that forest of supplements, because it's just, one walk down that aisle.
Right. And he said, I need this. Oh, this one says it's good for my liver. This one for my kidney. This one for my pancreas. But come on.
And then that person who comes along who's, the nutritionist at Whole Foods or wherever they could sell a glass of water to a drowning man. I have no idea. Great. Let me take more of that. Well, this is probably the best thing for you, Mr. Thompson. The one a day for men.
Right.
Really? Oh, okay. I'll take 50 of those. Well,
and you should have it in liquid. And you don't want to take it without also taking this because this catalyzes the...
Exactly.
And it's all expensive.
It seems so. The expensive thing that I was doing every day is that probiotic.
Yeah, I was doing that for a while too.
And I do think probiotics matter.
Yeah.
And they do help your immune system. It makes sense to me, I'll put it that way, when I
Right.
say I do think. The arithmetic adds up.
Yeah.
But it's expensive, man.
Right. It is. I mean, these little things they're little bottles, but if they're good for you, that's money well spent.
I know one thing, and that is that if you're overweight, and I mean, seriously overweight, I'm not talking about,
Like me.
No, I mean, like I was reading a study this morning about teenagers that are heavy,
Yeah.
and their risk of
Liver,
goes way up.
Yeah.
And you just realize that you should at least try to keep your kids sort of healthy, and that may literally mean just keeping them away from being fat.
Right. It's hard to do also in this day and age. I mean, it's really hard to keep them from the things that they want. I don't know that this day and age is any different than any other, but my son after school is not always with me, but he goes to the little store near school and they all get whatever it is, and and he processes it differently than another kid might, and
Sure.
it's just it's tough to do.
The other thing is that pizza, which is like the favorite food among
Yeah.
teens, and really for all of us, once I take a bite of pizza, I'm inhaling the
so
whole
good.
pie.
Yeah.
That's really bad for you. I mean, I'm talking about in terms of weight.
Right.
It just really, there's a lot in pizza that's going to keep a lot of weight on you.
Right.
But
Pizza delicious.
but God, it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's quickly get into just some Trump news. And this really isn't related to Donald Trump directly and his executive orders and some of the things that we could talk about maybe for the next time. Let's talk about the White House, though, that he's put together, specifically as it relates to his son-in-law, this
Right.
Jared Kushner.
I like how you say this isn't really related to Donald Trump. You're right, not really related, just by marriage.
Yeah, no, you're right. Actually, it is very much related.
It's a fascinating story. There's no real precedent for this. He has turned the White House, has Donald Trump, into a family business to an extent. People that worked for him at the Trump Organization all over. His head of security, Keith Schiller, is the doorkeeper to the Oval Office. He monitors everybody who goes in and out of the West Wing. The Trump people wanted him to be the head of his security. The Secret Service said that's not how we do things here. This was at the very beginning during the transition. It's everywhere, and nowhere does it carry a greater exclamation point than with his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, because he didn't leave Jared Kushner in charge of his own businesses. He left those to Eric Trump and Don Trump to an extent, and claims to be keeping an arm's distance, so that's hard to believe. He gave it to Kushner, and Kushner is running so many different things, everything from VA reform to opioids to Middle East negotiations. It speaks to a few things, Mark. One is the fact that Donald Trump, for all his billions and his high life, doesn't know very many people. He is always kept to a tight inner circle. And to come to the White House without knowing very many people and being suspicious of so many of them means that you're just going to go to the people you know. And that's why it's a bit of a family business. Kushner has no experience. I mean, he ran his father's business because his father was in jail. He probably knows more than you and me about business, certainly about real estate, at 36 years old. But he doesn't bring with him any portfolio of deals, of experience in politics, with policy, with the Middle East. He's Jewish. He's an Orthodox Jew. He keeps kosher, I believe. But this is just unprecedented. It's not giving Bobby Kennedy the AG position. Right? It's very different.
Right. In the lead up to the new Trump administration, I remember reading an article, I think it was in Politico, that was quite informative about Donald Trump as a businessman. And here's what I mean by this. We all, and you'd heard this a million times, the refrain, well, he's a great businessman, and I'm hoping he can bring that business sense to the Oval Office. We need a guy in there who really knows how to run something. He's going to hire the best people because he's a great businessman. I used to go round and around on this because in what I had known about Donald Trump, he wasn't a good businessman. I haven't even gotten to what I'm about to get to. And I say he wasn't a good businessman in the sense that he should have made much more money than he did, probably 40% on many of these deals that we know about. And then the deals that we know about that went under, I'm talking about the bankruptcies, there were four of them, and in a market that was really supporting the casino business. In other words, casinos were up overall, but the Trump casinos went down. So it began to make me wonder. I don't know that he's the great businessman everybody's repping, but here was the point of the Politico piece that I thought was so revealing, and I didn't know this. He ran all of those businesses like family businesses. And here was an example. In the case of Atlantic City, he had those casinos. It was suggested that he merge them, consolidate, because there was a lot of duplication of work. You can imagine there's redundancy, but it was a wasteful redundancy, not a good redundancy. And he rejected that. He said, no, I want them to compete against each other. And ultimately, that brought about their demise. They all went under. But that wasn't just limited to his casino business. He ran everything in that way, a family business, kept everybody very close, and essentially they were family members running everything. Now he's running America that way.
Yeah, and that's part of the fact that he has always kept everything close to him, and he's never obviously run a country. It's very different, but extrapolating what he did from in Atlantic City and all of his business. I mean, look, he's also had tremendous success in some of his businesses, as he will tell you, but the facts will tell you too. He seems to have done pretty well in real estate on some at some turns in the market as well. But I think the fact that he is so accustomed to running things like you just said, and he's being allowed to do it in the White House, that he has an office for his daughter and an office for his son-in-law, and his son-in-law is being charged with so much. Jim Fallows with The Atlantic, he's going over this. He's saying, we know this. These are tweets from him. We know that Trump considers Jared Kushner unusually able / good judgment. He's heading Mideast, Mexico, and Canada government reform. Here's the question. Is there any evidence of Jared Kushner having distinguished himself in anyone else's eyes? By his same age, 36, Bill Clinton had been Arkansas Attorney General and Governor. Obama at 36, president of Harvard Law Review, author of Dreams of My Father, elected to the Illinois State Senator. Even Rahm Emanuel, to take a comparable White House staffer, someone who was charged with lots of things during the first years of the Obama administration, had by age 36 spent years on Senate and White House campaigns and administration roles. Al Gore, age 36, served in Vietnam, 3 times in the House, had won a Senate seat. Richard Holbrooke, 36, wide negotiating and writing experience, Assistant Secretary of State. It keeps going on. Everyone who's had this kind of responsibility has already shown people, aside from his in-laws, that he can do something.
Wow, that really makes the case. But the fact is, Trump's the president. He wants this guy to do it, and this guy's going to do it.
Right. This is not something that has to be approved by the Senate or, any committee. But again, the other thing that it makes people wonder is families keep secrets. People who are not parts of families don't. And to give jobs like this to people who will then turn around and talk to the media, already Kushner's volunteering to give testimony on the Russian connection to the election. And is he putting that out ahead of? Is he getting out ahead of it just so that he knows he'll be called? But families keep secrets that other people don't, and his paranoia about that stuff, Trump's paranoia about that stuff, is probably playing into that.
Ivanka Trump, as you say, she'll have an office there. She's not on staff, meaning she's not getting a government salary.
Right. I mean, she can be an advisor. Listen, Valerie Jarrett was a trusted advisor to President Obama. She was a wall between people and the president and had his ear. And I think that Ivanka Trump can be looked at fairly similarly. Melania Trump, as we know, not taking any role in this administration. But Ivanka Trump seems to be the person that is trusted with some of the roles of being between the president and the people, and someone whose advice he trusts. I mean, you can judge whatever you want about that. I mean, what do we know about Ivanka Trump and her experience? But to be fair, we didn't know much about Laura Bush or Michelle Obama, and this is someone that I don't have as big a problem with Ivanka Trump personally, and as someone who appreciates the way White Houses are run and who loves politics. It's the Jared Kushner thing that's most bothersome to me, because of the fact that Kushner has no experience and is being basically handed all of these things, and they're all important.
Why have we not heard much about Steve Bannon the last couple of weeks?
I think he's behind the scenes. I think that he deferred a lot of all we've talked about was health care. He's deferred a lot of that to the vice president's office, to Reince Priebus, who deals with a lot more Republicans on a day-to-day basis. But I do think that, it does bring something interesting up, which is Priebus is now under fire at the White House. And the failure on health care.
Because of health care things being hung on him.
I would say, yeah, to a degree. And also because there's a disjointed message coming out of the White House, and he's the chief of staff. But I think one of the stories that isn't being told about the health care failure is that Mike Pence was his running mate. a good reason for putting Mike Pence on your ticket of your Donald Trump was to have a conversation with Congress where Pence was held in high regard by the right wing of that party in the House. Tom Price, Secretary of Health and Human Services, was a real conservative member of Congress. And then Mick Mulvaney, the head of the Freedom Caucus, is his head of OMB. The three of them, the three senior members of the House Republican caucus, could not get the House to support what seemed like the easiest thing for Trump to do. And that was an epic failure that no one's talking about. Those three men are in the administration because of their sway with Capitol Hill, and they weren't able to get it done. It will be different on tax reform. It will be different on other issues. But that's a signature failure of this administration. So to put it all on Reince Priebus, which it looks like it might all fall, I think is misplaced blame. But that's not the first time that's happened.
The tax reform that you just referenced and other stuff on down the way, successes there will cause the health thing to evaporate in people's memory?
I don't think so. I mean, I think that, you think that when Republicans, I think that more rank-and-file Republicans are going to vote for tax reform. People will vote for tax reform and support tax reform because their constituents won't be, they're not relying on tax reform the way they're relying on health care. I think that that's what people found, that the Medicare expansion, the health care itself, the anecdotal stories which were trumpeted from everywhere around the country, those things matter. On tax reform, it's business. It's what was elected. And so I think it's expected. I think Democrats know that they don't have a huge fight, except in certain places. But if it fails, it would be as big a failure for the Republicans as healthcare. But I don't see it failing. They're going to get their tax reform.
Michael Schor, go have a Beyond Meat burger.
I will indeed. I can't wait till my next Beyond Meat burger.
Michael Schor, everybody! Yeah!
Thank you all. Thanks very much. Look, they're clapping for me, and I'm not even eating meat.
Thank you for all the ways that you support my friends on the Edge podcast. And if you haven't already, why don't you show your support and subscribe? What's the matter with you? Go to Edge Show. Oh, it's Edge Dash. What's with the dash? Stupid. All right, I want to thank you for all the ways that you support my friends on the Edge podcast. Show your support and leave something on their website, edge-show.com. Stupid. Why is there a dash?
edge-show.com.
edge-show.com.
We welcome the amazing Andy Kindler. Come on, Andy Kindler.
I don't care whether I'm 8 or 80. From 8 to 80, I enjoy the sound of canned applause.
Yes, really.
It's your ringtone, isn't
Because
it?
I started off, I played Fred Mertz in the original I Love Lucy.
That's right.
For those of you who might remember. And yes, I wrote the book, Ethel. I don't know. Folks, I never said I was good at improv.
Andy Kindler, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Come on.
Hey, my catchphrase is, I didn't say it was going to be good.
You can see
Is that
his I
good?
Love Lucy's all on the old Kindler scopes.
Yeah, Kindler. Now, you see, here's the thing. Josh just made a joke for 7 people. And the joke is people,
kinescopes.
That's right.
kinescopes.
Right, okay.
They have to remember kinescopes, and then they have to be willing to laugh at the transition from kinescopes to Kindler scopes.
Right.
And that is...
See, I'm willing to give our audience that credit, whereas the rest of you seem like...
Yeah, I'm not one of
empty
those
heads.
7.
No.
You guys are very good friends, and both comics,
As far as that goes.
And Josh works on a lot of tracks, I think. He works on the just the funny, which, just like a quip kind of thing. But he also will do that wordplay thing. You like to do wordplay.
I'm not proud of it, and people dislike me because of it. But yeah, no, it's part of my makeup.
No,
for sure.
the wordplay...
For sure.
Wordplay done well, this is right in his wheelhouse, which is a bad use of wordplay.
No, I thought Wheelhouse was good there.
All right.
That was good.
It doesn't get funnier than that, but that doesn't mean that it hasn't spawned a generation of terrible punsters trying to copy him.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's the me impersonators that are really the problem.
How long have you two known each other?
Josh and I have known each other I'm the oldest man in show business except for Louis Black. I've known Josh probably, I'm very bad with dates, but I'm going to say early 90s.
Yeah, 25 years probably.
Okay. Yeah.
And when we started out, I had a skinny necktie, and I wore blazers rolled up to the elbow, And I said, "Where you?" And I always was interested in where people were from,
And how they're doing.
and how they doing.
Did you work the crowd when you were starting?
I've never been good at with the crowd.
You hear him here with 3 people. It's not that good.
No, but I think you could have a lot of fun and sort of get lost in that whole scene. If you...
I think I could be good at it, but for some reason, I never worked on it that much, and so it's always iffy if I engage the crowd.
In comedy, there are guys who work the crowd. Is that viewed as a crutch, or is that viewed as a skill? How is that perceived?
I think it can be either. I mean, there's people who that's their superpower. And
I guess anything done well, you get laughs in the club, then it's great.
Well,
Yeah.
Todd Barry does that crowd work show, which is very funny.
Yeah, I've never seen him do it, but I assume it's
because
worthwhile if he's gotten away with it.
He's got and so there's that, and there's
Paula Poundstone
Paula
for
Poundstone.
years.
That's what I was thinking about. She was really I worked with her in Sacramento, and it was after Dukakis lost or something like that, and so she was talking to the crowd, and she said, "Anybody have any ideas?" And someone said, "Well, we should vote more Democratic." And she said, "Are you aware the election's over, ma'am? Are you saying vote Democratic more promptly?" Folks, in the middle of that, I don't know if there are folks listening to this, but right in the middle of that story, I just realized, why am I telling the story? And even I'm not interested. But unlike a lot of your comics out there, Josh, he won't admit when something doesn't land. I'm willing to shorten the actual anecdote to save the crowd from the pain of hearing a bit that goes nowhere.
I believe you're willing to sabotage, in fact, in order to
That's true.
highlight the fact that your bit didn't work.
That's a little too true.
Yeah.
Andy's version of crowd rap is telling the crowd what they're thinking right now.
I know what you're thinking. There's no laugh here.
Right, exactly. And then he answers that.
I know what you're thinking. It doesn't seem like you work on your material away from the stage.
But this you referenced the last time you visited, and I think that's really funny, but you think it's funny, but it also gets in the way of, you use it as you bust Andy on that a little bit.
Oh, I bust Andy on whatever I can, but I think that Andy's art form is Andy. I mean, there's no.
So that is Andy. So what the hell?
Yeah, you can't. I think you can't dissect what Andy does. I think it's always
or identify an actual joke.
Well, that's true too, but
No, I have.
But I think
we kid ourselves, but I am considered one of the greatest writers in the history of the English language.
often considered that, and then moved on
I
to
don't do a good
others on the list.
braggadocio character. I'm not a good Muhammad Ali. I'm the funniest.
I'm in the conversation. There, that's your Muhammad Ali.
I'll make you giggle like a butterfly. But you'll double over in laughter like a bee.
See, but this is Andy. Andy's true gift, in my opinion, is stream of consciousness. Is the ability to just fucking keep talking.
You know what? You just made me realize that maybe I should really commit with. No, I just realized something. Like I'm going to go even one more step and not come prepared. And then I'll say, Josh said stream of consciousness, and you're telling me this isn't working?
Hey,
I'm a humorist, by the way.
You know, Heather, Andy was on
So
on
glad
one
I
of my
left
favorite
to come here.
TV series where they surrounded Ray Romano with a lot of comics that he had come up with.
Oh, now I told you to wait slightly longer before talking about Raymond, but okay. Wait till I start.
Now, Andy, when you were on,
Please take that out.
Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yes. You mean on the 27 episodes?
27. So does that mean you never have to work again after 27
I don't.
episodes?
Yeah, I don't have to work again.
Yeah,
if
that's
I don't
why.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's a choice. It's not something I need to do. Oh no. The not working is just a coincidence. It's not based on how much money I made from Raymond. No, the money still comes in. Don't kid you. This is the old actor who has nothing to talk about. Don't kid yourself. It's still a healthy chunk of change. I really don't have to work again, is what my positive thinking coach tells me. No, but it was fun to do. It was on from 1996 to 2005 or something like that. And
When they first brought you in for that, and all your comic buddies are there, a handful of them, did you guys think, oh, this will be fun for an episode or two, and it turned out to be like a real regular thing?
I think the show, because it came on Friday nights, it just for some reason it always seemed like a show. It seemed like they weren't going to take it off the air, that show.
Right.
So it seemed like it was pretty quickly felt comfortable.
But I mean,
The craft services.
Yeah.
No,
I meant your recurring. I didn't
Right.
See. I would be like, oh, they brought me on, but I'm sure it's not going to last.
Oh yeah, I'm doing that while I'm acting.
Right.
How well is this scene going? I'm the sixth basketball player in this episode. I'm the sixth stand-up comic basketball player. I mean, I can't bank on this. I happened to get a flood of episodes early, and that was very exciting. It was a fool's gold. And then the other thing is that I've been on a lot of Christmas episodes. I'm Jewish, but I love Christmas. I don't love Judaism. And I've been on a lot of Christmas episodes of shows. I think at least a couple of Raymond Christmas-themed episodes. So eat your heart out. I don't know what my point is here. But I was growing up as a child.
Every time a Kindler whines, an angel gets its wings.
That's the Jewish version of It's a Wonderful Life. It's not such a bad situation. Come on, Josh. You can't abandon me on these Jewish-themed
You once
bits.
called me a warped, frustrated old man, and it was the nicest thing you ever said to me.
What is this movie?
That was also It's a Wonderful Life. If you're gonna fucking play,
Oh, I don't
go
remember that
deep.
scene.
Well, that's Old Man Potter, Steen.
Oh. The one I still can't watch is where the guy's taunting him, the good guy, when he loses the money, when you know he's going to lose the money.
Yeah.
Uncle Schmooby.
Uh-huh.
Folks, and we'll be back with more. What's worse
memories.
than watching It's a Wonderful Life? Hearing people barely recall scenes from it.
Zuzu something or other.
Yeah, remember the scene with when he finds out it's going to be Potter's Field? And we'll be back with more conversation you never wanted to hear about a movie. All right. See, in that case right there, I could have cut off the last 7 words and nothing would have been affected.
But it wouldn't have been stream of consciousness then.
This is the thing he says that I do. I'm like, it's like jazz. He says what I do is like jazz.
I don't say that.
And that it's not popular.
This is basically a 2-man show. I feel like
Oh,
you
these
guys
guys
could have
are
just
great.
recorded
These
your
guys
car
are
ride
great.
over.
Absolutely
and
right.
I didn't
we could've been
even wasn't aware there was anybody but me. Where did you guys? Who's this guy? Who's the Jew to my left?
One thing they do, and I know you're not doing it anymore. Right? I want to ask you, are you going to do it anymore? That I love is Kids Court. Now, here's what Kids Court is.
Yeah.
Real kids come in, and they've got disputes. That's like people scored. But it's like, literally, it's like my brother spends more time with my mom than I do.
Yeah,
and
my brother's a mama's boy was one of them.
Yeah.
Another one was she wouldn't share pancakes with me at breakfast. So the big issues.
No, but I mean, okay, so it's those kinds of kids' issues. That's what goes on in the house, okay? And then
Am I making a mistake here?
No.
You got it. No, you got it. No,
Oh,
you got
look
it.
at this.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's-
maybe could someone narrate it to the people at home?
Andy's
pouring
peeing into a
coffee.
cup.
It is really
I don't like that kind of Trump material.
This is organic coffee that that is actually flown in. There's no kidding. I was really proud of the fact that really good coffee.
What do you mean it's flown in?
Well, they fly it in
not-
from organic land, and it's brought here.
On a solar plane.
I was going to say they use all that fuel to get that organic
Yeah,
coffee here.
right.
I only
great,
I
man.
only drink a trucked in coffee, as I've told Josh.
That's right.
But by the way, you know why organic coffee
This is very good. I mixed it with the coffee I had.
Yeah,
It's
and-
really good coffee.
Okay,
Yeah.
so here's what you didn't hear because we came on. We had this conversation right before we came on. Andy really knows coffee, but like really knows it. And she pointed out that my coffee, which I was so proud of, it's a dark roast,
Right.
which actually roasts the flavor out of the coffee. Is what you said.
It doesn't roast the flavor out of the coffee. What it does is the flavor that you're tasting is the burned bean, which people have become accustomed to enjoying in America.
It's like
Since
tasting
Starbucks.
the char on a steak,
Yes.
Right,
which
you can-
I'm sure you remember.
right. I do recall.
Are you a vegetarian now?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Yes.
Oh my God.
He's
It
a
seemed
vegan.
like
He's
it
a
was a
vegan.
very, very sore subject. Like you got attacked by a mutton
No.
at some point.
I did have a bad experience with meat. So, gentlemen,
I'm willing to admit that I did hear that you owned a string of discount slaughterhouses. Hi, I'm Jeff Foxworthy for Slaughterhouse Buffet.
Slaughterhouse 4.
See? And people say puns or wordplay is going away, and that's proof right there.
That it is.
No, it will never go away, but it's never going to get any better.
Right.
Heather, pass the coffee, please.
Okay.
I like your coffee. What I like to call it, Josh
Carafe?
calls it a carafe.
Yes.
I call it a.
Don't pour it on
I
your
call
computer,
it
Mark.
joie
This
de
makes me very
vivre.
nervous.
It has a little joie de vivre.
Wow. That's
It is a very cool carafe.
Let me tell you something about this carafe, sir, because you may be a connoisseur of coffee.
Or-
I'm a connoisseur of carafes.
I love that one.
Now, here's the deal on carafes, and this is good. This is news you can use.
Unpack it for me, as they say in politics.
Yeah, let me unpack it. The bulk of carafes now that you'll find at Bed Bath & Beyond and all your basic carafe sales situations have stainless steel thermos. In other words, you're going to, and you, especially Andy Kindler, who cares so much about the taste of your coffee, and those of you listening who care about the taste of whatever liquid you're drinking, you're going to, that stainless steel is not good to have.
I have a real problem with thermos coffee. I really do.
Oh wait, now hold on a second.
So what's
here.
That's
inside
what
here?
my line is.
Now why is stainless steel bad?
It's not that
imparts a taste.
It ruins the taste of things. I mean,
This looks like stainless steel.
It's not. It's glass. That's
Oh.
glass on the inside. So you have that's what you want, but they're very hard to find.
And have that shipped in with your.
Yeah.
And are they
They're
also
flown
hard
in?
to clean, or are they easier to clean?
No, they're not hard to clean. I mean, they're not. I don't think they're harder or easier to clean. But I would recommend everybody get the. So, but that one there, that's an expensive carafe because but the glass part is
But
what
when
makes
you're
it.
saying expensive, I mean, what do you?
I think that was like over $200.
Jeez.
Oh my,
But it's
what are you,
all the money's
Rockefeller.
all the money's on screen in that one. though. I see it all.
It
up
is
there.
beautiful.
It is.
Very
No,
pretty.
I would have to say that I don't enjoy, as a snob, I don't enjoy ever putting my coffee into a thermos. To me, it's always a
agree.
Right.
bad experience. I can't sleep for a couple of nights.
It's
so
ruined.
I would be willing to invest in an Andy Kindler line of glass line thermoses.
Good.
I love that commercial where George Foreman says, "My friends ask me, George, how can I get my how can you help me get my invention? What do I do with my invention?" And for like years, I was like, why his friends are not going up to him saying that? And then I realized he can't say, "I'm George Foreman from the George Foreman Grill."
Right.
Oh.
So
Why?
it's like
he
it's
sold
like
it?
Larry H. Parker saying,
Oh, he sold it?
Larry H. Parker got me. Oh, you know the story. Remember when they switched to that? No, Andy, because we don't remember RB furniture commercials from 15 years ago.
Now wait a minute. What did Larry H. Parker was the attorney who would get you a settlement, right?
Yes.
Fighting for you is my job. Right.
And then they switched from he
sounds
got me
horrible.
this to an actual amount, they used to say. And then they switched. All of a sudden, they were like, Larry H. Parker got me. You know what the situation is.
Oh, I didn't know that. And
Yeah.
why was that? Why did they have to do that?
Because for some reason they couldn't legally tell you what they made, or maybe that amount that they were saying was gross,
I see.
something like that. But they stopped saying the amount. It's like saying, I could save you exactly $345 in your insurance, which is one of my commercials. This is what he says, stream of consciousness. And I think Josh will agree with most of the crowd. You got to wait for it with me, right? Wait for the
Yes.
comedy.
If you wait till you stop talking, which is usually at the very end of your show.
Do you find that I put the funniest word at the end of the joke, or what do you think I do?
I think it's random placement, as far as I
True.
can tell.
It's true.
I watch for where you lean,
Where are you
not
on
for where
stage?
you say the words.
Do you still show up on stage much, Andy, or do you just sit back and
I'm
smoke
not-
cigars?
How
and-
old am I at this point? Okay, so I work out of a rocker. I still go on the road. And
You still
everything.
go on the road and
Oh
stuff?
yeah, I
Oh, yeah,
love it.
cool. Okay, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's cool. See,
And I'll go on the road as long as people book me. It's not like I'm saying, look, people, I need my rest. I go out for once a month, and hopefully you'll pay me 50,000, 40, 30, door deal, guarantee, 4 wallet, give away the room. I get the drinks.
Who books that?
Who books that? I pick up the comics, sold.
Now, you don't do the road as much, though.
No,
J. Elvis
people don't
Weinstein.
invite me like they invite Andy.
Right, well, Andy's...
No, as I was saying to Andy, for me, stand-up is golf for me at this point. It's I still
golf?
It's golf, yeah. I don't have any end game for playing, but except for I want to be good at it.
Right.
But I don't want to go on the road anymore. It's just too lonely and sad for me.
It's funny, the road, when you say, "Oh, I'm out on the road," it sounds kind of cool to me, like the Rat Pack. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
I'm
no.
sure it's not all as cool as I.
No,
in
it's
my mind.
alone. You're alone for 5 days, basically.
Well, you're
So-
alone, but you're meeting
You
new
have an
people,
opener,
and your people like
right?
you. What?
Like you have an opener. Like Chelsea Handler goes out not alone, right?
Yeah, the more money you make, the more likely you are to bring your own opener out on the road. But most of the time, there's someone from that town or someone.
yeah.
You don't necessarily bring your own.
I'm granting that at some level.
You bring your own sometimes, I know.
I very rarely do, but to me, I love the road because it's like it's not my it's not my home, so it's not messy, and it's like I can get away from my own disorganized desk. And I still can't get over that I'm in a hotel. Now, early on, when we were in condos and horrible situations like that, it could be the worst experience in the world.
It was
going on the
awful,
road.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there were, it used to be clubs would have these bad apartments and they'd put you up in them and it would be like, you'd be thrown together with two other guys who.
Yeah, it's like a bad sitcom or hell.
It was like summer camp, but the counselor never showed up.
Is that what they did in Last Comic Standing? They put everybody together or not?
They tried to recreate that condo experience, but like I played a place in San Jose where the club owner ripped the thermostat off the wall in the condo, so that because if people were going crazy with the heat or the air conditioning,
With the livability.
with the livability.
Yeah, no, there's hours of just bad condo stories to be told.
What was the worst condo situation that you can recall?
I would
Comedy
say Jackson,
condo.
Mississippi was the worst club I've ever played. It's called the Comedy Barn. And the apartment was terrible, and the worst feature of the apartment was a carpeted bathroom.
That's a disgusting thought.
Under the best of circumstances. Under the circumstances where the Mother Teresa of cleanliness is living there.
Right.
That is disgusting.
It's disgusting. And it's not like, oh, well, at least the shows were great. No.
Jackson, Mississippi. My mom's from Mississippi. I spent a lot of time in Jackson and the surrounding area, and there's just not much reason to go to Jackson. Sorry, anybody listening.
I bet there's a better club in Jackson, Mississippi than the Comedy Barn now.
You think?
I don't think.
I do. I'm very hopeful. Look at this last election.
Yeah.
It's really restored my faith in humanity. I think when we live in
What
a
an
country where people are not afraid to vote for a reality star, I don't even think he's that good at reality.
No, a
work.
reality participant.
Buffoon.
Yeah.
A reality buffoon who they know doesn't have an idea in his head.
All
And
of a
we're
sudden
brave enough to take the move and say, yes, we can go with that.
They
Don't
had
worry,
such-
it's not material for me.
They had such hatred for Hillary Clinton.
You mean Russia? All right, ladies and gentlemen. This is the new. I'm going to be the new Mort Saul of blaming Russia for this. Putin is. You know what? Whether he poisoned a guy or not, whether the guy who died was poisoned by a rare poison that only someone like Putin could get his hands on,
Right.
that's not the point.
No.
The point is, the evidence is not in on Syria. The guy's doing pretty damn good. Let's give Putin a chance. And his partner, Trump. Let's see what they can cook up. You know what I mean?
Wouldn't it be good if everyone could get along at that
Well,
level?
not only that, I mean, the authoritarian thing, not so bad over there. Russia, do you see a lot of dissidents in Russia?
No, you don't see him.
Not
no.
unless you go to
No.
the prisons.
No.
No.
If you get a tour of the prisons, you'll see a lot of them.
How many people are against the gays like Putin? Show of hands. How many people are as anti-gay as Putin? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back with more political comedy. The political comedy of Andy Kindler.
Did you ever do Politically Incorrect?
I
know
did
you're
it.
not.
I think I did it twice, and now I'm afraid I did it once. But neither time was memorable, so I think it was twice poorly. I did it on Comedy Central once, and I think I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
one.
okay.
I definitely did it once.
Yeah. It
wasn't
seems like it's some of the sharpest political criticism is coming out of the comedy world.
That's true, I think.
I really think they're the sort of the new.
The Capitol steps.
They're doing good work. Good, strong
That's a
work.
great reference. Tell everybody
Isn't
the
that
Capitol
good?
Steps are what?
The Capitol Steps are people who I assume I haven't watched that much of them, but they sing musical comedy about the politics, right?
Yeah, like
Josh?
parody almost.
Yeah, it's a mostly 1980s Washington D.C. based sketch group.
Iran
that did-
Contra.
That was
Iran.
it was the sketch equivalent of Mark
Russell.
Russell.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. President,
Did you?
that's the deficit rag.
Mark Russell was this pianist.
Wait, I think he's still alive.
He is still alive.
No, I know.
I have
that's
no
right.
idea what you guys are
But I
talking
That's
think,
what I'm
please talk about him like, I like that he was.
He actually
will be
retired,
missed.
and I
will
think he
be
came
missed.
back. He's back.
Well, I don't mean to say that.
He's back. He's back.
But he's
I'm
not
saying
doing
he will be missed.
shows anymore. I don't
No,
think.
but
That's what I
he
meant when I
did.
said what.
They used to have his specials on PBS.
Yeah.
That's sad to me. I'm a big PBS fan, and I think about that, and I say to myself, really? I like the guy who's so upset about Mark Russell.
He lives in
refuses for the
He lives in
any
Buffalo,
funds.
New York. And
He does?
He's 84 years old. He's still
Oh
alive.
my God, me too.
And he's 5'10", by the way, if anybody wanted
Wow.
to. Just keep
And his
track.
special skills.
Thank you,
Horseback
Wikipedia.
riding.
Where's that
Wikipedia.
IMDb?
Does he do special skills?
Where does he live?
Buffalo. Oh, what?
Just outside of
Or he
Rochester.
was, maybe he was born
Foster
in
Brooks
Buffalo. Who knows
impression.
where he's born in Buffalo. I don't know where he's living now. I presume him not living in Buffalo anymore. But
Where is he assisted living now?
Oh my God, Josh.
he's 84. He's
Josh,
not dead.
you should see him on the condo circuit when he goes into this stuff. A lot of times we're not invited back.
My parents are both 86, and they're fine. They live at home, and they're my dad's brilliant. My mother also brilliant, and they're fine. Except for the fact that my mom keeps that coffee going for like 3 days at a time.
Yeah.
And if you go to my parents' cabinet, like when you ask for like ibuprofen or something like, any kind of, like you needed an antihistamine today, literally, it's
There's not a brand to be seen. is
no,
there?
It's expired.
Oh my! It expired, but literally, you'll see
Like 2001.
1975.
We do that. We play this game at my parents' house of how out of date is it, and we'll do it anytime we do it, wherever we are. It's always like 1996, 1992.
It's incredible. I've taken photos of it. Like it's so remarkable, and it's good to hear that other families are like that. But when I point it out to them, they become very angry. Like I'm sort of finding fault with something about their lifestyle or something. I mean, really, it's
Sure.
my
I
parents are
stopped
not.
pointing it out and just started throwing it away.
It's so funny though.
One of my
is
great
funny.
pastimes with my mother was making fun of her, and she enjoyed the hell out of it. So
That's
so
nice.
I could go through a medicine cabinet and go 1982, Mom, and she'd be on the floor. So.
Mom, I don't want to say it's old, but it's 4 AD. Mom, this Neosporin, I'd be a little worried. It's from 17 AD, which is funny, 4 AD or 17 AD.
480 was good. 'Cause
480
it
was
came in the
strong.
back door. It came-
My mom had contacts under the sink. I did ask her about this.
Oh, like
What do you do with these old
disposables?
contacts?
Oh, no, in the hard
the
case?
cold capsules?
Just
no, for eyeballs.
like for eyeballs. Yeah,
What?
exactly.
Contact lenses. Yeah.
Contact lenses under the sink that
Contact
were
lenses.
so old. What are you going to do with these contacts? Why are they in the home? They expired in 2002.
And
I don't
Josh
get
would,
it.
Josh would say, I need more of those in show business, making one of his wordplay contacts joke. But I wouldn't.
If
do it.
I was
wouldn't do
that
it.
good, I would do that. Yeah.
I don't do that.
No.
That's not me. See, I'm the guy that does the pun but then denies culpability or capability. Capability. Meh.
That's a malapropism.
You were where did you grow up? What part of the country?
I grew up in Queens, New York,
Oh, of course, yeah, New York.
and
Of course, Jew.
Jew.
No, I'm thinking, how stupid, Mark.
I
Listen
grew
to
up
Andy
in-
Kindler. Where do you think you grew up?
I
New
grew
York.
up in Jewtown, Juniorvania. All right, folks, look, it's not about whether it's funny. It's not about the delivery. It's about the energy I put into it.
That's right. It's the relentlessness. That
And when
really
you
gets-
you grew up like sort of middle class, or
I grew up middle class is exactly what I would say.
So,
And I grew up-
Stand-
my point
standing
where-
around-
like where my parents live is like, but like where my parents live is like in Whitestone, New York, in a house that when we moved into it wouldn't have been considered like an expensive house, but now it is an expensive house.
That's what I was getting
now
to.
my
Yeah.
parents. Well, one of my parents has died, and I don't want any sympathy from you. Stop it. And I don't know why I feel as if I've said a joke. But the other parent is still there. She's still kicking, which we think is odd, Josh.
It's perhaps you should adjust your medication.
Okay, let me try that. My mom is still alive. My mom's still kicking. Of course, some of the family say maybe we should adjust the medication. I'd like to get that kicking down to restless leg.
There you go.
There we go. And that's all it takes. No. And I take it out on the road. If it doesn't work like he said, there'll be.
That was a joke that you just created, though.
It was sort of a joke.
Yeah.
He actually called me out when he was doing his State of the Industry address this past year. He did a joke that I'd said in the car, and it didn't work. And he goes, "That's a Josh Weinstein, ladies and gentlemen. That's a J. Elvis Weinstein, ladies and gentlemen."
And what was the joke?
It was the turning the Antichrist turning water into wine.
That was the funniest thing on Twitter. When that was so funny. Water into wine. Do you understand that the spelling is W-H-I-N-E? He indicated it with a Jewishy wine.
And that didn't work?
Well, it's hard. I would call that a font.
But that wasn't writing. That was just something I said in the car when he went, the Antichrist.
You didn't. You would have indicated, don't do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have said. I would have said,
it's not
no,
stage ready.
Stick it right in there. I wouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
This guy is funnier.
Not only did I not say that, he then credited me.
Right. This guy is funnier in the car than I am doing one of his jokes at a speech.
Proved it.
I proved it. And you always have to have someone. This is where Josh and I differ. You always have to have someone to blame. I'm not going down for that joke. Josh Elvis Weinstein. He's going to pay. People need to know that was not my instincts. Anything you didn't like in the speech tonight was probably a pitch from Josh.
That's right. Sad.
Do you find a lot of your stuff shows up on YouTube? Or maybe I guess you'd have to knock around and look for it to know whether it does. But I'm wondering if you're.
Yeah, he never looks for himself online.
But the state, like your State of the Industry thing that you do for those who don't know, Andy does kind of a state of comedy kind of at the Montreal Festival. Is that what you're doing?
In the Montreal Festival every July. And some of the last few are available like on SoundCloud, I think.
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah.
That's what I was getting to, yeah.
Probably 3 or 4, the last 3 or 4, but it didn't used to be that way.
Now, is that a cruel thing, or is it cruel funny, or is it just funny?
Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes it's cruel funny. Sometimes it's cruel without being that funny. And sometimes it just, what I'm saying doesn't work. But it's all the range of all those things. The more I can keep it like a roast, it's the better. So the more it's like rides the line between, because I always would love when Letterman would say a mean joke and he'd go, "I'm sorry, I thought this was a roast," to cover up that the meanness. Spirit, the meanness of it. So, right. So I tried to, but then sometimes, like if I'm saying if I'm saying this person's racist, it's hard to make that funny. Did you have any interaction with Letterman since the show's gone off the air? Or any of the people? No, but I think about it. I think, boy, I wish he would contact and say hi or something like that. Of course, he would need my number or something like that, or an email. Email.
No, the reason I asked that, for those who don't know, is Andy became a regular on the Letterman show, doing different things like interviewing baseball teams on their way to the World Series. And
yeah, I mean, yes, I did 39 total episodes, Josh.
Wow,
if you want to know how many,
quite a numbers game here.
We're exact.
Do you make the MC go? He was on 27 I Love Raymonds and 37 Letterman.
No, but I've written it down. The guy won't say it.
It's 39.
39 Letterman.
How do they introduce you, Andy? How does the MC introduce
We'll say,
you?
on Letterman or in
No,
clubs?
on the road. Just to
Ladies and
digress.
gentlemen.
Come back here. Come back, people.
People, it's a free ticket. Folks, it's Jewish Appreciation Month. Let's keep this rolling. The middle act was very high energy, so be prepared, folks, to get a little disconcerted with the show. And please welcome Everybody Loves Raymond. You've seen him on Everybody Loves Raymond. And he also was on Letterman. Ladies and gentlemen, Andy Kindler.
And Kids Court.
Okay, hang on a second. They front load Raymond, though. They do.
No, I don't use Raymond anymore. Because here's the reason why I don't use it anymore. People associate me with the 90s. No. No. I usually use I'll use Marin. Marin will be a more
okay.
current thing.
Yeah.
I think if you use a credit that ended, maybe 10 years is the.
I don't know. I still use Mystery Science Theater.
Let me
so-
finish. But see, in his case, his thing's hip.
Yeah.
Well, my thing's not unhip, but Mystery Science Theater, it's still going on.
Right. True.
My thing is like saying I was on Dobie Gillis.
Well,
Which is a cool credit, by the way.
It is a good.
Yeah. But I remember when I moved to LA and I guess '92 I moved here, and they were talking. I would hear about writers who would take MASH off their resume
Really?
because it made them seem old.
Well, now IMDb, you can't take anything off your
Exactly.
resume.
It all's with you.
Now it's old to even reference that as a story. What's he talking about? I'm trying to think of something that would be one level more obscure than that. Green Acres?
Let me look through my Thomas guide and see if we can find the way to that punchline.
I had this joke not long ago. I'm late tonight. This is like any gig that's ever been in Silver Lake or it's in Virons. Because this happens every time. I'm sorry I was late tonight. I got off at Sunset, and it just loops you around. Finally, I had to pull over. I called the Thomas brothers at home.
And it gets that.
Well, it gets that now. Yeah. But even up to 5 or 6 years ago, there would be people who remember having a Thomas guide. 593 was Hollywood.
Was it really?
594.
Yeah.
632 was West Hollywood.
Yeah.
And we'll be back with more.
Which one had Ivar on it for auditions?
I only had one Thomas guide.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? It was in
that's how late not late
You were
I
late
came,
to that
but
party?
I was late to the Thomas Guide party.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
late to LA.
I can't say that it's a time period that it's sad that you missed.
But I do remember I signed up to be an extra, and one of the things at Central Casting, literally Central Casting,
Right.
and they said, you're one of your, I don't know, if you can make it here using your Thomas Guide, then we'll sign you up as an actor, because you had to go to all these different studios and you'd have to look them all up.
Yeah,
I did use it.
Yeah, it wasn't. The kids today, they're so used to easy GPS. We had to look in an index sometimes.
It was
or
a
look
pain
in the
the
back
ass.
for a street. Wasn't easy. There was a glossary.
G4.
There was a skill to it. There was.
G3
It
on
was
page
like a Bible.
593.
I mean, it was the size of a Bible.
Yeah.
It was also, interestingly enough, this is true, it was a Bible. Because originally the Gideons were big on maps.
Who were the Thomas brothers? Was it brothers or?
I bet they were brothers.
I didn't know it was Thomas Brothers Guide. I thought it was just the Thomas Guide.
I'm
wasn't-
Oh,
no, he made it. He
is
made
that
it
a
the
joke?
Thomas-
I don't know.
I made it into a joke,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think, and then for some reason believed that because it was a joke, it was real.
I think it might have been, but now you've
Guy.
totally
Thomas Brothers. Hey, someone
you've
call
corrupted
in.
my memory now.
Somebody call in and see.
Yeah, set us straight on that.
Even more scary than Simon Cowell is the quiet disapproval of Josh.
Good. That's what I've been called.
That's what he was trying for.
The disapproving stare.
Do you take meetings for shows and stuff?
I will. Oh,
Why? What do you got?
You're not proposing. Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm just curious about the creative world of Andy Kindler.
Well, Josh can attest to this. He can back me up on this. I mean, at my age is when things start really crackling in the business. People like a guy who's never been to the top, but never had a lot of heat. But he maybe had a thing going. Maybe a couple of things in a row, and then he got ice cold. Then he heated back up, not to the same degree when he had the first couple of things, and that's happened 6 or 7 times. Hey, Hollywood, he's back. Hey, who's ready for Uncle or Grandpa? Who's ready for young Grandpa?
Are you crying, Josh?
I am.
Young Grandpa. Andy Kindler is Andy Kindler in Young Grandpa. Hey, where the hell is my grandson? I don't know, Dad. You and your wife never had kids. What? That you know of. Bang, 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 bang. It writes itself.
As I said, the stream of consciousness is the key to the comedy for me.
That's right, because if you later said,
Because so many other people would have stopped so long ago.
right, and later he could say the guy didn't know what he was going to say. You think he would have said that if he knew?
Exactly.
I mean, Josh, you are crying.
I
This
am.
is great.
No, because
Is it because of the cat?
It's the lack of conscience, total conscience, and the cat. It's the cat as well.
I have a stream of Trump has stream of conscience-less. Am I right, America?
Oh, there you go.
Come on, Josh. Can we make red hats out of that?
That feels like a J. Elvis Weinstein joke.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Andy
Emma.
Kindler does stream of consciousness. Donald
Trump
Trump
does.
does.
I don't like the way I've
stream-
been. I don't like the way I've been pigeonholed into Mr.
Donald
Pun.
Trump does.
I'm not just about puns here.
All of a sudden, you're
that's a tool in my bag.
All of a sudden, you're
Kiko.
P.J.
That is
O'Rourke.
not- That is not my calling card.
This guy, he's unbelievable. He goes every year to the pun off in Nebraska,
The Great American Pun Off.
the Great
yes.
American pun off.
Yes.
And he dresses up like a.
Yes, and I did win the 40 and over wordplay division last year.
He placed third in the town crier contest.
It feels like there should be a Great American Pun Off. doesn't
There
it?
should be a Great American Everything.
Yeah.
And it should be hosted by Jeff Foxworthy. Welcome to the Great American, and that's got to be. That's the way. Now you say, do I have meetings? That's the way his meetings go. Jeff, what do you got? Well, I can do any kind of a show where it's like, ladies and gentlemen, this week on Great American. Because didn't he do the Bible? He had the Bible game show.
Right. He did the Bible game
What?
show.
He did?
He did. Well, I'll tell you where he made a fortune. Well, he made a fortune in a bunch of places, but as far as the game show goes, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader?
Yeah.
Oh, that's where he. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know that I did the voice of Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader, the announce on it, and
Ooh.
and everybody
Also
had
made a
nice
small
things to say
fortune.
about Jeff Foxworthy, and they all liked him very much.
Everybody does.
They would like me if
That's
I
were
were
the-
making that kind of dough. I would be so.
He
nice.
better be. He better be pleasant.
That would
He's
s-
making carafe money. That guy.
He's making what kind of money?
Carafe money.
I'm spending carafe money, but I'm not making it yet.
I want to make FU money. FU money, Josh.
I want to make no thank you money. That's
I want to make no thank you. I have plenty of my own money.
I like that. No, thank you, money. That's good.
I don't need your blood.
it's a
I don't
notch
need your
below
blood
fucking
diamond
Yes,
money.
yes.
Money. I'm sorry. You know what? I have to apologize for the one moment I've been silent in the last 2 hours. I couldn't.
Probably my favorite part was that it was quiet and you were
I
like,
couldn't think of anything.
There was only one person talking. You're like, it's so quiet.
No,
in
no, I
here."
actually thought I was choking. I thought I was choking for a second. I was choking on the fact that I wasn't the center of attention. Folks, it's not about other people. It's not about the. I cannot believe what I'm looking at right now.
I can't either.
This is
It
like you're
kills me.
trying to torture an obsessive
It
compulsive
is.
person.
It's horrible.
There's a difference between not being afraid of spilling coffee on your laptop and using your laptop as a
a
saucer.
coaster.
It's not a saucer, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
put the coffee on the laptop, not.
Yeah, then
I
you put a cube.
literally
You put
on
a
it.
sugar cube on L, and
There's
sweet
a
and
ring
low
there.
on S.
This is not the first time. I see that this has been happening quite a
That's
bit.
what they're talking about right
This is
now.
what
I
happens
put the
when you
coffee
drink dark
on
roast
the laptop.
coffee.
You know, he's making no thank you money. He's making I put my coffee on my
That's right.
computer.
That's right.
money.
He might have
He
like.
actually uses a laptop as a
As a
filter,
cus- yeah.
as an
Yeah.
actual
It's
coffee.
my way of
It's a pour
saying-
through.
I'm wealthy, folks, but I gotta tell you, these laptops make terrible napkins.
He's going to open a restaurant where those are waitress trays.
Hey, let me tell you something. These iPads, they're good. Terrible for serving drinks on. The worst.
Do you know
What is that accent I'm doing? I'm from New York. I can't even do a New York accent.
You're doing it somewhere down the street.
Did you see that they're gonna? I mean, they've done the arithmetic, and there was a piece.
In other words, they've done the math.
they've done the math. The New York Times had a thing on the fact that if you could replace the 17,000 cabs in New York with 3,000 driverless cars, and everybody would get to where they were going faster and more efficiently.
Right.
That's never going to happen, of course. No. But what is happening is New York City, all these cabs are going away. They're being replaced by
Uber,
Lyft, and yeah. So
I don't know about that, folks. Because I miss the
Why?
days. I miss the days when I'm Joan Revis.
welcome to New York City.
That's right.
Don't forget to use your seatbelt.
In the cab, they would play this stuff.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Barry White. Welcome to New York City.
Dum, 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 ba, dum, bum,
Make
dum.
sure you bring all your belongings
Dum,
with
bum,
you
dum,
as you step out of the cab.
boom, dum, bum,
Watch the
boom,
left-hand
boom,
side of the
boom,
cab for
boom,
oncoming traffic. Thanks for driving with us.
Barry White. Boom,
I
boom, boom.
I auditioned for a show. I think it was called Taxi. this like last year or the year before. So it was an updated version. It's something, and I'm reading the script, and it's about a medallion and the da 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 da. And I was like,
Really?
What is this show?
Period
Taxis are seriously. Taxis are almost obsolete.
They almost are, yeah.
Certainly, this whole he's got the medallion and he doesn't know what to. The kid needs it for a down payment. I was just like,
and that's the whole thing. That medallion, that's hundreds of thousands of dollars, I think, or at least I remember it was $150 at one point a while ago. So it has to be more.
Or you can get an app.
I mean, seriously. I don't know.
That's exactly what's happening.
I don't know when it went into development, but I feel like it had started being cast way past its. But then I don't know. I think I saw maybe it's a mid-season show. I'm curious.
I don't know, but that
Interior
whole world,
typewriter repair store.
I mean, yes, Josh. That's exactly where I was. I was like, this. I don't get it.
I said a ribbon. It's not for a present. 5 hours later. It's not funny. We're a 1 hour drama. We don't have to be. That's what a lot of people say in 1 hour dramas that aren't very funny. It's a 1 hour drama. What do you want? All right, look, this isn't a bit. This isn't even stream of consciousness. This is worse than stream of consciousness. This is stuff that I'm clearly thinking I don't want to say.
It's stream of inconscionable.
Yeah. It's stream of have I no shame at long last.
Do you do auditions anymore, Andy Kindler, or not?
Offer only.
Offer only. Yeah.
I get rare auditions, but a lot of people would think a man in my position, again, has been in the business. When you say 4 decades, that's when people's ears start to perk up. And they tip off their obituary guy at the Post.
So let me ask you about when we used to watch The Tonight Show.
Offer me an audition only.
Offer me audition only. Yeah. Offer only. You offer an audition, I'm your man.
Offer audition
Call
only.
back only. Producers only.
Oh, that's very funny. When we used to watch The Tonight Show, the Carson version, and you'd see all these old Jewish comics come on.
Yeah.
I mean, Jan Murray and...
Buddy Hackett.
Thank you, Buddy Hackett. They were like, I guess, nightclub legends. I don't know Jan Murray. I don't know what he was. But I'm wondering, the business has changed, so those guys are not the equivalent today. I don't know what the equivalent would be. But you made me think when you said, I've been in the business 4 decades.
He's the equivalent of it.
Yeah. No, but I'm serious. Like, why?
I can
Both
hear
of
what
us
you're.
are.
I can hear what you're saying, Josh. You can't gesture towards me and talk about me,
But
then,
that's not...
and then try and pass it off as conspiratorial.
Should I try Pig Latin as well?
Someone should. It's a dying art. Well, I don't know. I don't really. There's people I know of like Rickles and that people, but I don't really remember much about Jan Murray. But what do you remember from Jan Murray?
I don't know. I'm just
I
saying,
don't
I
remember
used this as
Jan
an
Murray,
example. I mean,
Right, as an example. I don't
But
know
he
why
was-
I focused on Jan Murray.
Right.
All of a sudden, I focused on.
But there was a
I
general-
guess I didn't. I forgot he was Jewish. His name could. But yes, he's Jewish.
Myron Cohn. How about that?
That guy was Jewish. Well, those guys were like, when you go and read like books about like this guy Cliff Nesteroff wrote a book about comedy. When you start
It's
reading
really
these
good.
books,
The Comedians.
it's called The Comedians, and he says there were so many, like 5,000 vaudeville houses in 1900. I mean, I'm saying the numbers wrong.
They came
But
out of
the
that
point
world,
is-
you're saying.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's like my image had always been that comedy came out of a certain time period, and before that time period was like Lenny Bruce and Richard Pryor or Jackie Gleason. I mean, I really didn't know much about it, but now you realize there's been forms of it going back. But I don't know how far back, though.
It's really. I mean, it's like 20th century is like stand-up comedy is like a 20th century. I mean, there certainly were people standing up talking before that, but the actual joke thing.
Was there organized professions in like the Middle Ages?
Well, there was
I know-
jesters.
I know there were people made shoes and people killed people, but were there? Did you have a medieval version of a stand-up comic?
Yes.
You did?
Yes. The court jester.
the Jester, yeah.
And how far does the court jester go back, and how much does it pay?
Who books that?
Who books that? Does that go back all the way to Greece, Greece and Rome somehow?
Those were the stand-up philosophers.
Well, they did.
not
They
books
really
like
had
that.
theater then. They must have had some stand-up.
Plato was funny. Socrates,
Not yeah. He
not
was
so
hacky.
much.
He was very
Hacky,
derivative.
Very hacky.
Now, what was your
He had a method.
easy to remember thing on Socrates?
SPA.
Spa, which
Socrates, Plato, Aristotle.
Yes.
yeah. So Socrates was first.
It's one of the best
Plato
things
was
I learned on this
next,
podcast.
and then Aristotle. And Plato was Socrates' student.
Correct.
Okay.
Hence SP.
No, I know, but I just wanted to get the relationship right.
Right.
Oh.
And so,
As,
Not-
and
as opposed
Aristotle
to the
was
son.
Plato's student.
son or like
And
godson.
I think Alexander the Great.
Other
Or
relationship.
some, like Alexander the Great, was a student of Aristotle.
Is that right? Alexander the Great?
Now, don't quote me on this.
I don't know. I
believe
think
it.
Alexander the Great was a student of anybody.
Well,
He was a great.
anybody who calls himself great. You know what? I'm suspicious going in. You better be great. I'll tell you that. All right, look. The thing is,
course,
all those
Letterman used to
people,
do
all
that.
those people lived, though, right? Every one of those people lived.
Yes.
But isn't there one of those people, like they say may have been, who did Socrates talk about? God, I wish I'd read something earlier. You know what I mean? Even like, could have taken one day between now and my age, where I am now, and birth, to look up a thing.
Just read.
Just look up a thing.
Take some time.
Instead of waiting till now to go, was Aristotle, was the cave a real cave? Or is the myth of the cave? All right, look, folks, if you're not going to get my myth of the cave references, forget it.
That's a great reference, the cave.
Myth of the cave.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was that?
Remember those laser discs?
Yeah,
I
sure.
remember them. I bought a ton of them.
Yeah.
Thinking that was the new thing.
Yeah.
Did you go to Dave's Laser on Ventura?
Yeah,
Dave's
that's right.
Laser?
That was like the Tower Records of
Right.
and Tower Records was like the Tower Records.
Right.
The thing about 8-track that still bothers me in a way, and you guys can weigh in on this, and the people of 8-track, is my reaction to 8-track when I heard it at first was when I first heard a song fade out and come back up, because that's the way they had
That's
it
the way they
divided.
did it. Yeah.
I said to myself, you know what? Why don't you get back to me when you've actually, when you figured it out? All right, I want the whole goddamn. I hate to be picky. I like the whole goddamn song.
They would fade out of a song?
This is it.
Yeah.
Tell Heather because this is unbelievable. This is absolutely true what Andy's saying.
I heard bookends on 8-track, so it didn't happen with every song, but the way they had to divide up the 8 tracks, which I don't even understand how they worked. To me, if you have to name it 8-track, why don't you just name it a record tape? Why do you have to tell people how many there are? This is part of my chunk that never was written.
78.
It should be part now.
If I started in 78, this would have been my act.
8-track, you know what? Hey, why don't you call it what it really is? A faulty mechanism.
It was
So sometimes it would
poorly-
fade out in the middle of a song. That's the way it had to be divided. So sometimes they were able to divide it up at the end of a song, but at least once on every 8-track, and probably twice, you would hear "Let us be lovers, woman, America." Now, if I could sing in tune, if anybody remembered the Source song, if I wasn't worried about what we were going to be charged for it,
That's absolutely true what he's talking about. Imagine that.
No, I can't.
I mean, but
'Cause
you know,
you had to break
when
up the
cell
8 tracks.
phones first came in, and they would constantly drop out. I mean, they still drop out, but they would constantly drop out. I thought the same thing you thought of the 8-track, which is, hey, this
isn't ready
This
yet.
is cool, but it's not right. If I told you, hey, I got this thing, you can talk to anybody anywhere. Well, that's cool, but it drops out all the time.
Right.
Hey, well, when you get it to the point where it doesn't drop out, like then we got something, then we can have another meeting. That's kind of what 8-track was.
Well, someone pointed out, like on the airplanes when they have Wi-Fi, like a lot of times it doesn't work that well, because you're still getting the bugs out, but they still overcharge you pretty much.
Yeah,
You people, wake up, America! This is the real problem, right, Josh? Is the overcharging for Wi-Fi?
Well, that's going to change in the new. I understand
totally.
that Donald Trump is changing all that.
That's the thing. When he says "Make America Great," I don't even know what he's saying. I just like the color of his hat. I like how violent his fans seem to be.
Yeah, we call it just passionate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Patriots, I call it.
It's a potent brew, isn't it?
It is.
Talk about over roasted.
That's right.
By the way, I want to just say this is the best carafe I think I've ever seen.
I'll have a picture of the carafe on the website.
I just took one
edge-show.com.
of the two of them.
Oh, you did?
The carafe.
Oh, that's
and
great.
Andy.
Will you
Yeah.
send it to me?
Yeah.
I'll put it up
My
on the
friends
website.
have come up to
This
me all the
week's guest
time.
and Andy.
The carafe really is the star of this episode. Of
Will
the
you
Edge.
make sure that we take more pictures of guests this year?
Yes,
we didn't
I
take
will.
any pictures.
I took a really good one that I saw you posted of you and Captain Paul Weston.
Yeah, you did. So that's the beginning.
welcome.
We got to do that.
Don't waste
thank
it
you.
on people of our level.
So, Heather, you have an audition, or what do you have?
I do. I have two.
What are you auditioning for?
I mean, do I have to look it up? I don't
Is
remember.
it a commercial? You don't even.
Yeah.
No,
I don't even care anymore.
Yeah.
It's probably why I haven't been booking.
But
as
there's
many.
one. But this is interesting.
Apathetic
This
30-something.
really is- She was sent to an
Yoga mom.
audition. She was sent to an audition, and she looked at it and it said "heavyset Latina needed" or something like that, right?
Yeah. And I emailed my agent and I was like, I really don't want to waste my time on the heavyset Latina role because I'm super white. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
And I know that they change their mind all the time, but I was like, but really, I'm not
First
doing
of all,
this
they
this
shouldn't
year.
even write. They shouldn't be allowed to write a role that says heavy set.
Well, it didn't say
What
heavy
is
set.
it?
It's
Oh,
like
okay.
average, you know.
Damn it! Why don't you
Sorry.
let me? I could have
Let
had
him
a
go with his-
5-minute
Oh, I'm
bit
sorry.
riff on this.
Shit. I
Damn
take
it!
back.
Okay, so you're exaggerating that case, but I do think there's still a lot of like things that they describe the character that doesn't have anything to do with, it's just like an assumption that the person. I don't know. Maybe it's getting less like that, but
It's not. I could read you a couple that are you would.
Well, I'll tell you what I have. I do voiceover stuff, and you see no regional accents. Would listen to British, possibly raspy male voice or female voice. I'm thinking this is too broad.
How often is edgy in there?
Yeah, right. Edgy Reed. Right.
They always say not too Jewish, though. Right? You know, I keep forgetting. I just feel like the world should be mic'd so that whatever I say comes through. You know, because there's so much gold.
Isn't that Twitter for you?
Oh, don't even talk about it.
That's exactly what it
I
is.
have,
The world
just-
is mic'd.
That's right.
I'm on the Twitter police.
I've seen you take on like a Twitter troll a couple
Not
times.
me. No. I'm the type of person. I'm like the Gandhi of Twitter. If Gandhi is someone who has anger issues.
It really is.
If
like,
Gandhi became an insult comic.
Yeah, right.
30s.
Gandhi was a negative.
I spent the morning, I think it was yesterday or the day before, not going after, but responding to someone, trying to respond to them substantively. It was yesterday because they are trying to gut the Endangered Species Act, and it can steal your day as you begin to try to convert one person who's you can't convert. They're not.
I mean, when your day can be ruined by something as simple as Rob Schneider tweeting to
what happened?
Representative John Lewis, "You are a very good person, but what is now is the
But
time."
the real lesson of Martin Luther King was tolerance.
Yeah, the real lesson of Martin Luther King, and then he says, "That's how he won civil rights."
Oh, that's what it was. That's what it was. Okay.
He won
I
civil rights.
I heard the hubbaloo, but I didn't know the exact.
Oh my God, that's what I might tweet something wrong, but I cannot imagine at any point. Hey, dear civil rights icon, I respect what you did. Hey, if people ask me, I say that guy's cool, but Martin Luther King won civil rights. And tell me, hey, do it this way. And if you want to win civil rights, like MLK did on this day more than any other. Hey, Representative John Lewis, there was a man named Martin Luther King. Look him up. Love Rob Schneider. Love Rob Schneider.
That was the weirdest thing on MLK Day to make a guy who had the crap kicked out of him marching for civil rights.
No, he's all talk, no action.
Did you read Roger Ebert? Someone tweeted out Roger. It had to be someone we both know. Josh Mankiewicz, maybe.
I think he retweeted. Yeah.
Yes.
Someone
Did you read it?
Yeah, I did.
It's great.
What is it? Tell me. Let me in on the fun.
Well, Roger Ebert, like basically burning Rob Schneider, is in the best possible way.
Yeah. Well, it was like another reviewer had burned Rob Schneider, and Rob Schneider wrote him a letter saying, "I see you haven't won any awards, blah blah blah. Well, I don't know, how can you be, So Roger Ebert writes in his column about this whole thing, and goes, "Well, it so happens he actually has won this award, this award, this award." And no, he hasn't won the Pulitzer, but as a Pulitzer Prize winner, let me tell you that
Your movie sucks.
your movie
You are no.
sucks.
Literally, it was great, and it was Deuce Bigelow, American Gigolo, or two.
Yes.
That Rob Schneider was all up in arms about someone not liking. Yeah, really, dude.
Oh man.
All right. Andy Kindler, we love it when you come and
Yeah, that
visit.
was fun.
We know it's.
I once again.
I'm glad we got a lot of work done today. We really
Once
got a
again,
lot
I
covered.
apologize for any. This is my new thing: dominate, overshare, kind of steal the center of attention, and then go. If anyone's been offended, I'm deeply sorry. I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to be this loosey goosey today. But Josh in the car, he said, "Look, You are a stream of consciousness genius. Say it. I'm a stream of. And I
couldn't
refused my
finish.
thing.
He couldn't even finish, which was weird.
Yeah. I would go immediately off on a tangent. Because that's what stream of consciousness really means. Good night, everybody. Buy my book, which is called Stream of This.
For a transcript of today's show.
Who used to make those transcripts?
No way.
Not Scripps Howard.
Scripps House used to do it.
Kiplinger's?
Nightline.
Yes.
Hey, if you want Kiplinger's financial letter, I used to get that somehow.
Yeah.
Kiplinger's financial letter.
Wait, do they still do transcripts of shows?
Yes, they.
I don't think so.
I
probably
think they do.
They probably do. It's
Yeah,
probably
because it's
available.
easily.
On the deep web.
The dark web?
Where you get your oxycodone.
I buy it with bitcoins. Is my new catchphrase.
I'd buy that for a Bitcoin.
That carafe, I'd use bitcoins to buy it.
Back to the carafe. Andy Kindler, everybody. Oh, yeah.
That carafe.
Hey, everybody, why don't you do me a favor and like The Edge with Mark Thompson on Facebook? Yeah, that's going to bring in the kids.
If you like The Edge, help us out by liking us on Facebook. Subscribe to The Edge with Mark Thompson on iTunes or on Stitcher.
Edge-show.com.
Edge-show.com.